have papers flying in the breeze. Okay, so I am writing content as I speak. So please forgive me. I like to memorize my speech. I like to have no, hands involved in paper. So please forgive me for not having things done. But on the speaker's journey that I'm discovering, content is a big deal. So thank you for bearing with me. I need your help specifically with content. Does it make sense and clarity rather than the presentation skills? I'm going to put those together as we go through. So if you help me with that, I'd be most appreciative. Thank you.
Hi there.
Hi there.
Cathy Woodhouse is an internal medicine physician in the Atlanta area and practiced for the last 20 years. In 2017, she also became board certified in bariatric medicine, the science of weight. In particular, she has a very keen interest in the science of tasty food. Full disclosure, she likes pop. And she wants to help you learn to choose how to navigate tasty food in a way that makes sense. Please welcome Cathy Woodhouse.
Listen. Can you hear it? Barbara. 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 Of course you can hear it. You've been hearing it all morning. John. John. What is it? It's that donut in the break room. Oh yeah, that one, that chocolate cake one, dripping with the chocolate fudge icing. But you're not trying to eat donuts. You're trying to lose weight. As a matter of fact, you can feel a little roll of fat spilling over your waistband, and your doctor told you just last week that your cholesterol was too high. But, Marcia. So what are you going to do? Who would go rescue that poor little donut in the clutches of your greedy and undeserving coworkers before they stole it from you? Absolutely. And maybe donuts aren't your thing. Maybe you're watching the game, right? And you see this commercial for this big, greasy double cheeseburger dripping with bacon. And you think to yourself, I want a burger. Or maybe it's pepperoni pizza. Or maybe it's a big steaming bowl of shrimp and lobster Alfredo. Why does tasty food make us feel this way? And why do we want to eat this stuff so badly? What's going on? How do we handle tasty food, particularly when we want to lose weight and be healthier? And especially, how do we handle tasty food when we enjoy eating it? Well, we handle tasty food by learning how to eat, not cheat. Well, if you haven't guessed it by now, I love food. I always love food. This is me, and I'm not even 2 years old yet. And you can see that, I'm eating fried chicken and pork and beans. Not exactly high cuisine, but the look on my face is rapturous. I was born for this. Yeah? But my life changed when I was 5 years old, because when I was 5 years old, I was sent to live with my grandparents, for the very first time in the summer. And that changed my life, because that summer, I ate the tastiest food on the planet. Homemade cakes and pies, and best of all, these hot yeast rolls dripping with melted butter. The food was stupendous, but I was gaining weight. Imagine my surprise when my parents picked up their little girl from the airport 3 months later. And I was so round that they literally said I rolled off the plane. And that food was delicious, but it set me up to have to battle my weight for the next 40 years. Always gaining, always dieting, up and down the scale, and struggling with, I can't eat that, I can't eat that. And when I cheated on my diet, which I would inevitably do, I would really cheat. And I would come to, and I would find myself covered in Oreo cookie crumbs and a smear of the white creme frosting stuck to the side of my face. At one point, I was 40 pounds overweight. And a lot of people have trouble with this lie because it doesn't compliment you. But I want to press upon you that this actually was going on, this dark, grainy, just not happy time in my life. But I'm standing here before you today because 4 years ago, I lost that 40 pounds. And I lost that 40 pounds by learning how to eat and not cheat. But what about you? Maybe you want to lose weight too, or maybe you want to be healthier. And you know, tasty food, oh, it gives us comfort. It makes us feel good, but it complicates things, doesn't it? It complicates things, it surrounds us, it's everywhere. We need a plan. Let's do this. Let's eat, don't cheat. And let's create an individualized eating plan. I call it a food framework that works for us. E is eat healthier. Now, every single one of us in this room this morning wants to be healthy, right? I mean, I've never gone into clinic and had a person come to me, they often say, you know what, doc? I really want to have heart disease and diabetes, and I want to take all these pills all day long. No, absolutely not. Let's make the base of our framework healthy food, unprocessed food, because that's where the health comes from. I'm going to talk more about that. Eating closer to the ground, not dieting. A is accept your hedonics. Hedonics? What the heck is that? Okay, time to check out. No, don't check out. This is one of the massive things that causes problems. It gets in the way. Tasty food is food which is especially high in sugar, fat, or both. And sugar and fat is what makes food taste good, right? I mean, we just don't get the same high, happy feeling from a donut, from a carrot, than we do a donut, right? And tasty food has a fancy name. It's called hedonic food. I don't have with this at the point. Hedonic food comes from the word hedonism, which means the pursuit of pleasure. Oh my goodness, pleasure. And guess what? Not only is there hedonic food, but each of us here today possesses a hedonic brain. A brain which craves pleasure. Because in order to build your individual food framework, you've got to learn how your own brain works. Understanding your brain helps you choose your approach to hedonic food. And lastly, T is test. Test your new eating plan. Test your food framework. If it doesn't work, you tweak it. Or try something else. And more importantly, and this is big, you keep testing until you find a food plan that works for you, that you can happily live with. Because we all know that weight loss, just living in general, is a journey. And I've got to tell you, it's a journey of you. You get to be the student of you. We'll also talk about boots on the ground skills that will help you navigate your food framework. And most importantly, we'll talk about releasing perfectionism, releasing guilt and shame, and getting help when you need it. And you might discover something else. You might discover that this journey is much more than your dress size, or your pant size, or your LDL cholesterol, or the number on the scale. As your journey is going to change how you see your entire life. You can learn to eat, not cheat. You can learn to eat healthier, accept your hedonics, and test your plan. So, how about that donut? When you understand you can choose to eat it, or not. You can choose to have something else in its place now, or later. The choice is yours based on your own individual personalized food plan that you've designed for you. You're no longer conflicted about tasty food, you're not on a diet. You have learned to eat, not cheat. Well, I guess I'll stand up there, huh?
Yes.
Take your licks.
Yes, and that was just under 9 minutes, but it included your introduction. So probably we're closer to 8 or so.
Good. Lay it on me, people.
Cathy, are you
Alright.
planning on making any other changes to it before showcase, or is pretty much what you presented in that showcase?
This is what I want to say. I'm pretty clear on the message that I want to give. The hedonics part, when I do my keynote, is going to talk more about that, kind of give people more of a framework. There's not much you can talk about in 2 minutes. So my goal was to present kind of like a teaser So just for this point, obviously I'm going to be smoother, my walking and gestures, eye contact. I know I moved around the room a lot and didn't really focus, but I'm not really, I don't have that down yet. So. But yes, to answer your question.
All right, good.
Okay, and Laura, we'll let you lead us with the
Okay.
feedback if that's all right.
Sure. You're beautiful. You really are.
She is.
You know, you have a fantastic smile, so you're engaging before you even open your mouth. And that's a gift. That's really, really quite a gift. So there's that. And I love how you started this with the, you know, and I would linger on that a little bit more. Like make people give them, and I know you said you're not working on your presentation skills, but the opening is so critical. And kind of that, you're like causing people to oh, here's what, so that when you go into it, you can start saying the names. And I'd even start out, you know, and you can use a little vocal variety. And again, I know you're not working on presentation skills, but really grab their attention because we do. We're all sitting at our desk working on something going, oh, that piece of cake in the refrigerator. we've all done that. So I think that's, I like the way you opened it. When you talk about some of the food, the big greasy burger, nobody sees that as a big greasy burger. They see it as a delectable morsel of red dripping protein with this buttered bun, and who doesn't love bacon, and yeah, all that. So just the kind of, so the big greasy burger had kind of a negative context, but you were talking about how we're tempted by something. So I would give it a little more positive description to go to the side of it, because that's why we're tempted by it. Those are in all the senses, and I would also reflect on the senses. I mean, because this stuff is so good to smell it, you can taste it before you eat it, you can, you know, because that's what draws you into.
We're going to farm burger next.
Yeah,
So happy it's
They
there.
love
so good. The eat not cheat, that is a wonderful little synopsis of what you're doing. So I love how you put that in there. And when you said I cheat, that vocal variety, you go, no, I really cheat. You can put an emphasis in that and do that. When you talk about memorizing your speech, a lot of speakers do that, and it can throw you for a loop if anything happens or anything gets out of place. So you may want to consider, I mean, you know your message, you know what you're going to say, but have a couple of bullet points, and for something like this even, you can tape them to the back of the room so that you can practice with your hands free, and yet you have your reference on the back of the wall. Because when you're maintaining eye contact and you're scanning the room, nobody's going to notice that you're looking there. And especially for this, we know you're working on it, so it's okay. It's going to make you a little more comfortable because you're not doing this the whole time too. So the bullets are. And I love how you explain hedonism, but maybe go just a tad deeper, because that's a word a lot of people may not know for that. And then and it goes back to that big beautiful burger that's in there, just to kind of some of the, and maybe even that pleasure versus pain kind of thing, where that minute of pleasure takes 40 years to get off, right? And when you talk about the choice being yours to change this, that's an opportunity for you to tell your personal story. Because you said in the beginning, and that's very compelling, that you had a delectable experience at an early age, and it took you through your adulthood to overcome that, to make better choices. Well, tell us how it changed your life. Tell us how you got there. Take a minute to describe that. But then turn it around and say, I did it, you can too. Find a way to, because that's when you say, you can do this, it's your choice also. You're welcome. What else?
thoughts.
So Kathy, could you read me the questions that you asked in the very beginning? So one of them was, why does tasty food make us feel this way? What were the others?
The second one is, how do we handle tasty food? We're trying to lose weight and be healthier. And
Okay,
then how do we handle tasty food when we like eating it?
okay.
Like.
So I was trying to, I love your presentation, by the way, and you have some of the best descriptors of any speaker I've seen in Speaker Lab. And so the way that you tell those stories, it's, you know, it kind of comes as a surprise at the end. I love the visual of this little roly-poly little girl rolling off the plane. I thought that was fabulous. So I'm with Laura. Play that up, because that's a strength for you. And people are going to look at your speaker reel as, are you going to be engaging enough for us to pay you to come and speak to us, right? So I think that stuff really helps you. The questions were a little long, so I would think about maybe shortening those, seeing if you can get them, because the eat, don't cheat really just, I mean, that rolls off the tongue. That's something that people will remember and take away. So if you're asking questions in the beginning to kind of set us up for what you're going to share throughout the talk, use that as an opportunity to truly tease the bigger keynotes. But if they're so long, I think you lose people in the process, which is why I couldn't get them all in. So I know there were some really good questions there. You talked about having a lifetime battle with food and weight, but I didn't get there with you. You didn't invite me into that piece. It was such a beautiful, fun, you know, kind of dripping with butter experience, but I didn't get the battle parts. Yeah, so there may need to be an element of pain. I don't know, but that's something to think about, because it might be hard for someone to connect if they are truly in a battle.
Yes.
Right?
Thank you.
And then when you introduced EAT, the acronym, I love all of that. You said, let's make a plan. And I thought, well, am I on board with that yet? Like, do I really want to make a plan, or I just want to think about cheeseburgers, right? So.
Yeah, those pictures do look.
So it was, but that's okay. And that came before you started doing the acronym. So maybe there needs to be a little bit of pain in addition to the pleasure that you're sharing, so that I'm on board with, okay, you know what, this can't continue, right? Like I can't have the health issues I have, or I can't have the weight that I have, and so yeah, I'm ready to make a plan. Let's make a plan.
Yes,
So
that's cool.
that's it. I thought it was phenomenal. If you had to go into showcase tomorrow, you would be great. You would not be.
Yes.
This would not be a video you would shy away from. So you did great.
Yes, sir.
As you asked for clarity, I thought your PowerPoint with the text on there, you could break that down to have one of the topics of each, and then you can summarize it afterwards there. Because once you put that up, you had all three out. My mind was going this
Yeah.
way. As soon as you got that up, it's like I was out of your presentation.
Yes.
It distracted my consciousness.
That makes sense. That is so cool.
And Catherine, piggybacking on the content, I'm sure it's just me. It may be that you address this later on in the presentation. The eat, don't cheat rolls off the tongue. Is it don't cheat on your diet? Don't cheat yourself by feeling deprived that you can't eat? I don't get what am I cheating against? Because that's kind of reactive.
Yes, this has come up before. So
Okay.
that's why I was trying to make it clearer in the sense of like, what's the goal? What is the goal? Is the goal to be able to eat this food? To answer your question, you can help me kind of frame this.
Okay.
The goal is to help people develop a plan where they can do what works for them. There's some people, when we talk about abstinence, there's three choices. And I can talk about this here if you want. We talk about abstinence. We talk about ad lib. And we talk about a whole dreaded moderation. What in the world does that look like? Okay, so if you think that would be better to put in there for clarity, I will do that. I will take out stuff, because I do want people to kind of understand what this is. It's
Yeah.
about the food. It's about how do you deal with the food, not cheating. That's a separate message. Don't diet, learn how to eat. That's a separate message. This food's everywhere. How do we cope? So that's an excellent point, because it keeps coming up, so I'm not doing my job.
And you know, the thing about that food is, it's pleasurable and it has no nutritional value, so you keep eating.
It doesn't.
There's milk and eggs and chocolate cake. Bill Cosby said so.
Well, we're gonna, and
Anyways, I don't know.
Well, that's what the keynote is
I just-
about.
okay.
That's what the speech is about. The speech is about where it fits into the plan. Does it? Because we're eating it. We're eating it. Most people aren't plant-based, whole food plant-based yet.
Right, yeah.
Okay? So that's where that first thing, that's where eat comes in. And I can spend a little extra, I can drill down when I say what I eat. When I eat. Your foundation is food from the ground. Okay? The next step, the next tier up, and I could do maybe a visual, you guys think that would help. Maybe even do a picture of like a foundation or a graphic that has healthy food and then shows the choosing on top. Because the choosing is that individual, how do you deal with hedonic food based on the brain science that we have. So I'm not being clear.
Can I just make a comment on this point? I don't mean to jump
No,
in.
no,
No,
this is
I'm
critical.
through.
This is
I'm
critical.
through.
I love the simplicity of your message, and I don't want to see you get too deep in the weeds, because I think
So
you
much.
might lose
There's so
people.
much content.
You really want to stay at this high level, which is, you've really honed it so well, Cathy, really. I love the eat, don't cheat. If I were you, to me, go into the negative, because it's the psychological that we go through when we perceive we're cheating on whatever diet we think we're on, or if we think we're a little overweight and we want to have a donut or something that's in the hedonic food category. It's a negative, you start punishing yourself.
Yes.
And that's what you mean by cheating. It's not necessarily that, because the whole idea is that this is a part of your plan. That you're going to have this built in. You know who you are, you know what's most important to you, because when we feel deprived, we often go way the other way. So maybe if you, on a simple level, address the psychological piece, which is where you're trying to get to with people, I think.
Yes.
The psychological part of when you're perceiving that you're cheating on yourself or on your, you want to create your plan so you can include the food that you enjoy in a way that's not going to
Yeah, that's
hinder your health.
cheating. The
I don't know.
whole guilt and shame thing is a different speech.
Yeah.
So I have so much content. I'm sorry, I know I'm probably going for a short time. I have so much content.
Right.
I'm drowning in it because I want to address Denise's point. That's what I want to address. But it's like, how do you do that, in that brief 10-minute time?
What's your ask at the end?
My ask is that people think in a new way about their brain. No, my ask is take the journey to understand your brain. Because that will help you choose the abstinence, the ad lib versus whatever other moderation, we're talking about moderation. So the ask is to help people make a plan based on what we know about the brain. What works for you? You choose what works for you, that's the ask.
But you're going to provide that. You want them
You're
to
gonna be the
engage
guide
with
to
you.
help.
You want them to take your course. You want them to, so
Correct.
we're going to turn you into a little bit of a salesperson at the end. We got to put
Yes.
that in, right?
And that's where I was going with that.
Yeah.
Where
We
should
got
that
a
be?
question back here.
Where should that be? Is my ask not clear, and where should my ask
No,
be?
it's not in there, you didn't ask, but,
Okay.
so, and I wrote a lot of stuff down, so the missing piece for me in the whole thing was tension in the story, and I'm not a writer, but the antagonist is diets. Diets, because you say eat, not cheat, what are you cheating from?
Exactly.
And that's, the tension is, here's the thing, the tension, especially in your eat model, was you got delicious food you like to eat, but you don't like to be fat, right? That's the tension. That's the call. That's everybody in this room could stand to lose an ounce or more, correct? Everybody thinks, and even an anorexic thinks they need to lose weight, correct? So it's, the tension in the world today, in the mind of the listener, is, should I eat or not? And then it's that's the debate, it's the devil and the angel. So you didn't bring that into the structure, which you said you wanted structure. So you want to create the tension, elevate the problem, connect with the listener, the audience, that everybody feels this way, and everybody relates to somehow that they're cheating and they're not cheating, and they're either cheating and justifying, or they're suffering because they're not getting the thing they want. It's kind of two crappy places. So what you're saying is, hey look, I got an alternative, it's called eat. You gotta eat, you gotta have an awareness, and then you gotta test it, or think that all the, whatever your eat acronym tends to be. And then the call to action at the end is gonna be whatever your solution is gonna move them to as the solutions provider. You're a food solutions provider.
Nice, I like
Thank
this.
you.
Nice. Very well done.
Because everybody's gotta eat. Even bulimics, like, right, even bulimics have to eat. So it's, right? So anyway, that's my feedback.
Thank you
I like
so
it.
much, sir, that's cool too.
And that's gonna be our time.
Okay, thanks all.
Thank you.